Hello there. Week of October the 13th through the 18th. No pictures of me. My laptop seems to be dying. It keeps crashing in the middle of class, and so I got a new one, but I don't have a camera yet. It's got a desktop. So we'll just go forth until I get a camera for next week. Sure nobody cares. I don't mind at all. So this is what we're talking about this week. Research, rhetoric, rhetorical analysis, genre, visual rhetoric. There's a lot of stuff going on here. So the point is, we are at the point in the term where you should have picked an issue or you found something that you're interested in, but maybe you're not, maybe yes, maybe no. So we're going to talk a little bit about doing research, a little bit more, okay? I'm sure you've all got your own tricks about how to do research, but here's one I want you to do. I added it to the weekly schedule. So if you had a weekly schedule that you downloaded before today, the 13th, October 13th, or October 13th, it's going to be wrong. So go back and check on this, because I want you to do this little activity. Should take you about a half an hour. It makes use of what we call the journalist questions, which I'm sure you guys have run into in high school. The who, what, when, where, why, and how questions. So we're gonna do it. Now this link is on OpenLab as well. So here it is. All right. But what we're going to use is we are going to use this person, all right? So say we've got an idea, but we're not real sure. You guys probably know who she is, but maybe not, okay? So that's why this KWL thing works really well. So I happen to know some things about her, and you probably do too, right? So that's what this is about. So I'm going to fill this out, not completely, but I'm going to show you how this goes. So this is me, all right? So what's the issue I want to know about that? Well, I happen to know that's Greta. Okay, Thunberg and climate change. All right. So this is when you get started. You set your timer for 5 minutes and then start writing everything you know about this issue. Even if you get stuck, you just keep going, all right? So I'm not going to do that for 5 minutes. I'm just going to say she's a teenage climate activist who has gotten lots of kids interested. Okay? And won awards. There we go. So you do that for 5 minutes. Then you do for 5 minutes. Now you start asking questions. So now you use your journalist questions to come up with some things that will get your research going. So who is she? Where is she from? How did she start doing this? So I got who, where, what is she all about? Can't type. Who, what, when did she get involved? Okay, and so that's pretty much it. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Oh, why? Why should we pay attention? Okay, so that's just some. All right, so now you click into Google and you start doing a little research, right? And give yourself 10 or 15 minutes because you get lost. So I'm just going to go over here to Google and I'm going to type in Greta. Ah, there's Greta. There we go. Greta, ta-da! And guess what? Here's the Wikipedia thing. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff. Some nice quotes. It's a good background, what we call backgrounder in journalism. Give you lots of information. This is a part from her "How Dare You" speech. Right, so you got a lot of good stuff, and this is the nice thing about this. Here's some more nice good quotes from Time magazine. Is down at the bottom you get all kinds of, well, here's the awards. You get some pretty good links, right? Here's a link to her climate action speeches, and then there's all kinds of, here's something from a speech, right? And it's a video. Okay, got that. So we can look up that. And then there's something else from climatefund.org. All right, so some more things from Greta. All right, so there's a bunch of things that you can find, right? So just from there. And you can keep Googling Greta and find out more about her. You've got another cute little picture. Her Instagram, go see what you can find over there. And you can also find things. This is her "How Dare You" speech, which is, the one that really got everybody's attention. So go look at that. And then you can start, so you can look at articles about her that other people have written. So that's what your research is. So when you've done a few minutes of research on stuff, trying to answer these questions, which is the best way to start. Then you click on done. And once you've done some research, well, then you start writing what you've learned, okay? She has Asperger's, okay, among other things, right? And then this one is the what do I still want to know? After you've done this initial research, what do you have left? What are her proposals? Okay, so that would be one thing you could say. You could ask. What are some other questions? Now, if you're doing representations in video games, you know, I'd want to know maybe, because I'm interested in women's issues, you know, what are people doing about it? What do I know? I know a little bit about women are stereotyped. I'm going to go, I have some questions to ask, you know, how did this happen? Is anybody doing anything about it? Who are the people involved? Who creates these games? That kind of stuff. Right, this is what I learned. This is what I still want to know. And then you hit the submit. Now the submit takes it back over to our doc, to our drive, okay? And once you get over here, it's not up here yet, but it will be. It'll show up. Okay. Okay. So it'll show up, and I'll put them in this folder so you can have them to look at. So let's go back to that. So this is one way to do it. This is KWL to use that. So everybody do that by I think about the 16th. So the thing is, when you do this, you're going to find tons and tons and tons of stuff. So how do you pick the things that you want to analyze? Well, remember you have to have 4 sources to analyze in 4 different genres. Now, what in the world does genre have to do with any of this? Well, genre means category, right? And each genre has got its own conventions, the things we expect to find in that category, in that genre. So these are the genres that we usually think of, you know, like sci-fi and drama, westerns, thrillers, horror. Right, so if we pick horror, we expect darkness. I think I've gone over this before already. We expect darkness and jump scares and spooky movies, spooky music and that kind of stuff. But there's other things to think about in terms of genre. Right, and this is a link. This is also on our drive. Except it doesn't want to go. There we go. Okay, a brief list of genres. It is, in fact, I'll show you exactly where it is. It's under Resources, Course Materials. The KWL activities here. Here's the brief list of genres. And here they are. And if you look at this, you can see that there's not just 1 or 2 genres. There's not just video. There's not just research articles. There's a ton of stuff. Encyclopedia, online encyclopedia article, scenes from things, eulogies, Instagram stories, interviews. And if you're doing interviews with people, those are great. Like with Greta, you know, I'd go out and maybe do interviews with my granddaughter and some of her friends who were got very involved in climate change activism, in fact, that they started a magazine at their school in the 4th grade. It's still going. And it's largely about issues of climate change. So I would interview those kids about why they got started, what an impact Greta had on them. So there's all kinds of genres you can pick from. All right. So it's more than just the creative genres. So now what do we do with them? Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do after that is we start analyzing them, right? And genre being a part of rhetorical analysis. And I think I did this the first week, but I can't remember, but I thought I'd do it again. Rhetorical analysis is really how messages are created and whether they're effective or not, and what people use to get us to understand it. So if you think about your last argument, you think about who was involved, you know, where you were. Just think about it for a second. Just close your eyes here. Just stop a second and think. What's the last time you had a disagreement with somebody? These things. Okay. Who was involved? Where were you? Were you against the wall? Were you in the living room? What was it about? Why did the whole argument kick off? I had a student a couple of terms ago who got into an argument with his brother and then his mother about why they should all invest in marijuana growing. It was an interesting story, which I'm not going to go into, but that was what got started, is he was trying to get them to invest. And so the purpose of the argument was to get them to jump in with him, okay? What kind of language or gestures were used? And we've all probably gotten into arguments where you got really angry, started yelling, and went, well, that didn't work. You know? So you changed tactics, right? So what happened within that thing? What was the tone? Did it start off civil and get angry and then go civil again? What was the outcome? Who convinced who of what? So that's what we call, in fact, what I just did is a look at a rhetorical situation. Here's the author, the audience, the purpose, why it happened, the situation that it happened within, right? All this stuff. And genre is part of this text part right here in the middle. How language was used, what genre was chosen to convey that message. And why, and the question about genre is, why would an author choose that particular genre to get that message across, okay? So this is some of the stuff about rhetorical situation. And this is sort of the lead. I want to lead you into the ed puzzle thing that you guys are getting ready to do, okay? There's some questions in there for you to answer, too. And there's no grading to it, but you have to do it. And one of the questions I ask in there is about visual stuff. And visual things are just as important as anything else in rhetorical analysis. Because it's one of what we call modes. It's a visual mode. It's a type, it's a choice of things to put in a text. Right? So visual I haven't gone over much, but it's things like audio and video, where the images are, colors that are used, that kind of thing. Right? So then when we get to all that, we go through the ed puzzle thing, we do our KWL, we know what we're doing. Now we start analyzing sources, and your first source analysis is due next Monday, the 18th, I think. This is what the ed puzzle thing is about. Okay, who created it? These are really important questions, and that's what's in the source analysis, is sort of these things. Who created it? Who are these people? You can't, if we're going outside of, if you think back to Ellen Carrillo's thing about navigating the perfect storm and Common Core, we are now pushing outside those four corners of that text. We are seriously looking at who did it, who was involved, who created something, why it was created, when, what situation, what did they use, and whether, most importantly, was it effective, and even more importantly, why? Was it the choice of genre? Did they target the right audience, right? So that's part of it. Okay, so so for this week, you're doing the KWL Plus activity, and the Ed Puzzle activity, which is short. They're only, people who are doing them are only spending about, at most, 10 minutes at it. It's a very short video. And then the first source analysis up by next weekend. And if you start getting things up, look at each other's and give each other some feedback. There's an example, remember there's an example on the assignment 2, the Unit 2 assignment sheet. There's one from last summer in my 1121 class. So it's not quite right, but it's close enough. And then there's optional sessions on Tuesday the 13th. The links are on OpenLab, and I'll also drop them into Slack just before the sessions start. So come on by, ask some questions about this stuff. But that is what we are about. That is what we are doing. And send me emails. Send me a text on Slack. Whatever. Get going. I can't wait to see what you guys turn up. Bye.